Hello everybody. From the last video, people appreciate a bit of conclusion before I actually did the video. So I think that this conclusion of this one is the Takumi Sen 8 or the Streakfly. Not much in it for training, whichever you can get your hands on, whichever you prefer. Takumi Sen maybe slightly sort of firmer feeling, Streakfly maybe slightly wider on foot, I thought. But anyway, this is the video. Enjoy it. I'll do some Yasso 800s. It was cold, very windy, and one of those sessions that you just grind out and glad that you've got it done and move on to the next day, hopefully. Hello everybody, hope you're doing okay. Welcome to Basingstoke Downgrade Track, and I've come here today to do a bit of a Shoeoff come Yasso 800s. Now, training for the marathon, they say that if you do 10 800s at your target marathon pace with the same recovery, that's a good indicator of what you're likely to do. And it's like today, it feels very cold and very windy, and for some reason I got shorts on. Don't want to upset the YouTube algorithm with too much display of those, but yeah, maybe not the ideal choice of shorts today, but perhaps I'm going a bit faster. I want a bit more freedom. I've also got a 10k coming up next Sunday, so I wanted to get a bit more of leg speed in the legs. So this is probably an ideal chance to get a bit of 10k speed on with a bit of marathon training. So I thought I would aim for about sort of 3 minutes around there. I was going to do a show off changing shoes every rep. I think it's so cold that my fingers won't feel it, so I think I'll concentrate on doing a Streakfly versus Takumi Sen 8 shoe off with maybe a go in the Dragonflies at the end. So I've done a 2-mile warm-up already. So here are all the shoes. I've actually warmed up in the Vomero 16s, and I'm going to go to somewhat lighter shoes. Got the Streakflies here, Takumi Sen 8s here, and then here's my Dragonflies, which are the spikes there with the six spikes at the back. Now, it's been a bit of rain in the air as I was warming up, so the track may be a bit slippery, so it'd be a good test to see how they are on that. I think these shoes, I would say that these aren't the shoes that I would take for my race. I don't think I'll try the next Sense today. I've tried them before on the track. We just want to get a comparison of the Streakflies to maybe the Takumi Sen 8s. Just basically want to get a good workout in, and if we get any data for a bit of a video, so much the better. Right, I'll put the Streakflies on and then we'll get on with this then. Okay, stride's done, so I've kept my arm warmers on. These Nike Breaking 2 ones, which are quite nice when it's a bit chilly. Right, so the aim here is to run about 3 minutes for 800 and then about 3 minutes rest. If I feel alright, maybe I'll push the pace a bit later on, but see if I can get these reps similar pace. It's going to be quite tough though with the wind, so one way is going to feel quite easy, and the other way obviously is going to be somewhat more difficult. So that's all part of the challenge of running, especially on a track. So for this session I'm going to try Garmin Track Run app. I've done a video on that before from this very track, in fact. Okay, first rep done. Conditions are quite tough. It's down the home straight, bending into it a bit. It was about 305, I think. It was about 91 at halfway, and then 93 or 94. So, yeah, not too bad. About in the right groove. Shoes feel okay. The Streakflies. Certainly feel the track in these. They do feel sort of slightly wider on foot, I think. The base is kind of wider than it looks when you're looking at them from the back, sort of thing. You think they're quite narrow, being a racing flat, but yeah, I definitely had a lot narrower racing flats. So I think when we get into the Takumi Sen 8s later, I'll definitely notice that sort of slightly narrower base. Whether that helps or not, I don't know. Obviously the spikes, you've got a very narrow base, so we'll see. So I've got a fairly long recovery with this one. Give me a good time to recover. And the heart rate's already down to 88. So I've got another minute and a half. So I changed the camera angle for this one, and see how we do on this one. That was slightly quicker. I think about a 303. So a bit off, but I think the weather's to blame. I'm feeling quite tired as well. Making quite excuses. I'm also a bit locked up in the left hip at the moment, so I've got a physio on Thursday, so I need to get that sorted out. All these miles I've been doing of late maybe take their toll. So yeah, sometimes though in marathon training you've got to accept the fact that you're going to be absolutely tired all the time, and feeling fresh is the idea for the week leading up to the race and on the race day, not necessarily 2 months to go. 2 months to go to the Manchester Marathon, which doesn't seem very long at all. I've got to do a long run tomorrow, I think. I haven't really done any truly long runs yet, so I think I'm going to go for at least 20. And I think I'll try and take it aerobically
I'm not really one to doing too much marathon pace within long runs, especially as I haven't actually done one yet. But averaging 70 miles a week, you kind of feel that at least I should be in the ballpark for, you know, filling that one out. As opposed to for London, I just literally did 120 miler when I've been running more like 50 miles a week and doing 5Ks, 1500s, 800s. So yeah, hopefully that will go okay. So I always like to do, in the past I used to like to do a hard weekend. I'd do something like this sort of session or a marathon tempo on the Saturday, then long run on a Sunday. So the marathon on the Sunday, starting on tired legs from the Saturday session, you kind of feel like simulating race pace a bit. Some people like to sort of like rest up for their long runs and take them really hard, really fast, which I think is fine, but you know, if at the end of the day, if you're not actually running marathon pace for too much of it, it's like classic just zone 3 training where you're sort of like hard but not too hard, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I've got 30 seconds to go for this next one, and then after that I think we'll change it to 8. Yeah, not too bad, but I think the weather myself is conspiring against me today, but this is the fastest I've beaten them so far for sure, so yeah, working fine. Okay, on for a quick shoe change. Just want to get the words out when it's cold. Yeah, slightly different feel in this Takumi Sen 8. Definitely a bit firmer. Feels sort of slightly narrow as well. They are a slightly smaller shoe as well. They are effectively a size smaller, so that's the biggest they do. I think the times there were similar. I feel I'm struggling a bit with my left hip a bit, feel a bit locked up, so maybe that's impacting the times. I'm not exactly that much out of breath there. I don't really feel like I'm working so hard, but that's the kind of thing with marathon training. Sometimes it's just a case of grinding it out and getting these done, especially on a day like this when it's not great weather. Anyways, that's 4 down, so we're nearly halfway then. So on the Garmin, I've set my watch to auto lap every 400 meters, so I get a split. So you can see there, that was a 1:30, then a 1:33, and the previous recovery was a 2:55, aimed for about 3 minutes. So you can see the watch is there helping me along. I think that was slightly better actually, stretch out a bit. I'm still feeling very locked up, so I'm going to take this a bit cautiously. Maybe it's not going to be the best Shoeoff test, but we can do what we can do. That's halfway anyway. I may just keep these on a bit longer because I think it's so cold to change my shoes. I think what I've seen so far, there's no real difference in it, and for training purposes, well, it's more depending on how you feel than the shoes you've got on. Just got to eke it round. Right, you've got a running total of my recovery on the watch, got another 1 minute 30 to go. It's quite a generous recovery in this session, almost a bit too much really, but yeah, not really feeling like this is like a VO2 max session, more like a grinding it out session. But yeah, if this is my 10k pace, that will take that. Hopefully better conditions next Sunday. Yeah, 6 down. Struggling a bit here today, but aerobically feel alright. What I might do now the track's quiet is actually run around the other way. I've seen sort of some pro athletes do that on YouTube, so now we've got the track clear. Obviously a bit difficult, we've got more people on the track, but usually then start with a straight, and then I'll be turning with my other leg, as it were. See if that makes any difference. I'll keep the Takumi Sens on now for this one, and maybe I'll change off to the next one. We'll see. Oh, so windy, the camera fell over, so I didn't get much of that one. It's all a bit dark now, but it's on a track, and plenty of light to see around the track. Yeah, it's interesting going the other way actually. I've done that before. It's yeah, you get the left straight to start, but yeah, this left hip is a bit locked, so I need to be careful. I think the time's going off a bit, but still getting the work done. I think I can finish the session. Just a bit cautious. I think it's not really the shoes, it's just the turning. So maybe doing the right turns is going to be better. So I'll do one more of the Takumi Sens, and then we'll see how we go for the next two. Okay, not much light left now. There's only two left, so a quick change into spikes. I'll give these a go. I think we're okay, just need to be a bit careful, but just to sort of see how these feel. These are rather cushion, these Dragonflies, so I'll do it the normal way first, and then we'll revert back to the other way. Okay, the ninth one done in the Dragonflies, the normal way around. I'm going to do the last one in the opposite way around. It was okay. I was just starting to feel a bit sort of tired now. I'm not tired, but I think this left hip is locking me up a bit. But yeah, time was alright. I think it was about 3:04. So I just pretty different feeling in the Dragonflies to the Streakflies. Much more like a spike, obviously. Not as well cushioned, although it's still nicely cushioned. Right, I'm going to get all this one because I'm almost ready to go. See you in a bit. Okay, session done. Probably can't see me, but yeah, about 3:05 was the last one. Yeah, just sort of grinding these out, and then I think it's just sort of thinking back to tomorrow's long run. Hope I can get a bit of stretching out after. I've got a Theragun, so we'll see if we do there. I think as for the Shoeoff, not really much in it really. I think the Dragonflies would be ideal when actually racing. Definitely feel a bit more firmer. Streakflies kind of feel like sort of more foot splay, just sort of wider base. Quite nice in a way, although perhaps for more narrow foot. Perhaps I prefer the sort of Takumi Sen 8 feel. I think if I had that in a size bigger, or at least half a size bigger, that would be an ideal shoe. Although for that it was alright. Yeah, I think when we look at the times later, we'll see that was more adjusted for myself today than the shoes. But useful exercise to see there's not much in it in these looks. Okay, I'll do a spreadsheet and we'll check in later.
Okay, so here's a spreadsheet. So what I did here was 10 800s. I was trying for about 3 minutes, but it was so windy and I didn't feel so great. And also my left hip, sort of thigh, back of the thigh was kind of locked up. So I hope I'll feel okay tomorrow. I needed a bit of stretching out for my long run. So in the end, I sort of settled for just to sort of get around that as best as I could. And the times weren't too bad and the heart rates were quite low. I think what I would take from this is that this shows a classic example of heart rate drift throughout and no real advantage to any shoe. Well, they might argue that when I put back in the Dragonflies at the end, I was finding it slightly faster than I was in those two Takumi Sen ones when I ran around the opposite way around the track, i.e. sort of backwards as it were, clockwise. So I think you look at these times here, there wasn't really much difference in it. I mean, I got down to a 3:04, a 3:05 with the Takumi Sen 8, and then pretty similar in the Streakfly. And as you can see, the heart rate was gradually going up as I went along. Maybe on this one here, it actually went down slightly, but then the time was slightly slower than the one before. But all fairly as I would expect. The cadence was around about 185 for all them. Interesting, when I put the Dragonflies on, it went up a bit. I think what I do notice with me, when I get a bit tired, contrary to a lot of people, my cadence actually goes up rather than the other way around. I think I sort of get into more of a shuffle. And I think because of my left leg problems, and I was turning left, apart from some of them, I was sort of over to the left on the ground contact time balance, so I need to watch that. And my splits weren't too bad. I think most of them, apart from the very last one, which might explain why the max heart rate got so high to 146 on the last one. I was kind of positive splitting by a couple of seconds, which is not unexpected when the conditions are so tough, because after a while you start to sort of, in the home straight, you was having to really work really hard, and then you feel like then it's difficult to get going again down the back straight when the wind helps. So I often found that, maybe subconsciously, I was just trying a bit harder on that second lap on the last one. The wind was really quite strong, I thought, relatively. 21 miles an hour in exposed running track, and you certainly know about that. And although it was notionally quite mild, 8.9 or 9 degrees more or less, the windshield made it feel like a lot slower. So that's why I didn't change shoes too often, because I was actually finding it quite difficult to untie the laces and put them on. Fortunately, with a 3-minute recovery, more or less, just about enough time to change shoes. So I had all the recoveries at pretty much bang on 3 minutes. So I think what I take from this is that if you've got the Streakfly or the Takumi Sen 8, then very little in it for this sort of training session. Either will do, as you would kind of expect, being touted as a short distance racer. And then the Dragonfly, because I was kind of tired by then, not really sort of a magic shoe, which is kind of the thing with all these shoes. They aren't magic shoes. You need to do the work, not the shoes. But certainly a light shoe, like a light racing shoe or a Spike, is going to be somewhat more appropriate for this type of work than, say, a heavy Pegasus or the Vomero 16 that I warmed up in, horses for courses and all that. So I hope you found this interesting. Have you got the Streakfly in the drop? Are you looking out to get it? Did you get the Takumi Sen 8? Have you got the Dragonflies? Interesting to see which of these three you think you would prefer. Obviously, only the Dragonflies is actually legal for a race in the UK, even at sort of amateur level. Whether that will change in time, I'm not sure, but I haven't heard any rumours to that effect, even though World Athletics have said that basically the shoe rules should only apply to the elite pro races on their sanctioned races, but that hasn't been quite the case with UK Athletics, which in a way is good, because at least it, like some sports, you haven't got one rule for the pros and another rule for the amateurs. A bit like golf, really. They don't use different clubs or different balls. It's all the same. They just hit the ball about 100 yards further than I do, and probably straighter as well. Anyway, so I hope you found this interesting. Like and subscribe and all that, and look forward to seeing the next one then. Bye.